Caution, entertainment banter might use language that's inappropriate for some listeners, and if you don't like it, there's the door.
And we're back with Entertainment Banter. This is Joel.
And I'm Matt.
And we're here to talk about a little Terminator. Our friend here, Matt, has finally watched Genesis.
Yes.
Thank you, finally.
You're welcome.
I want to talk about this for a while because it was fresh in my head. I'm not sure how fresh it is still in my head, but I just want to get this off my chest, my head. Off my chest.
Whatever. Just speak your
Terminator
mind.
Genesis.
Yes.
Right off the bat, you start watching it,
Yes.
and you're trying to put it together
Yes.
with the other four movies. The other four
You're trying to find
movies.
where
You're
it
trying to
fits
find where it
in
fits,
the timeline.
and then it hurts your head.
Yes.
But then you just accept what it is,
Yes.
and you enjoy the movie because the movie's not that bad.
Keep going.
But then at the end of the movie, something happens, and you go back, and now the movie's ending, and you know it's ending, so you're trying to go back and trying to put it back into where it fits, even in its own fucking timeline, and then your head explodes.
Yeah, sure, something like that. Yeah. Do you want my 2 cents on it?
Yeah, show.
Okay.
Since we'll start off Genesis as the newest movie, we'll talk about that first.
Sure. Well, I'll talk about how, like you said, when I started watching it, the first thing my mind went to was, okay, where in the timeline of Terminator 1 and 2 does this take place? I automatically ignored 3, and I even kind of ignored part of the other Terminator Salvation or whatever it was called. I don't even remember what
the Christian Bale
one was. Yeah. So, anyways, I was watching it, and I'm like, okay, so they've got new actors playing these roles, obviously, because the older ones are older, except Arnold. Because apparently you can only CGI Arnold. All the other actors in the world cannot be CGI'd, but Arnold is the only one that can.
No, they explained his aging. They even said that they chose
I get
aging skin on this Terminator, which makes no sense.
Actually, they did explain that a little bit in 2. It said, it was a real generic explanation, but they just said
they're trying to say it's realistic.
It's robots surrounded by organic tissue. That's how they're undetectable by certain things, whatever. So I can see tissue getting old and dying off, I guess.
But aging like a regular human?
I don't know. I let that one go. I just said, okay, that's fine.
Okay.
So moving on. So they got new actors, but they're basically, for the sake of the movie to make sense of this particular movie, to make sense with the others, they had to recreate some of those famous scenes from Terminator 1 and Terminator 2.
They recreated all the scenes.
Yeah.
And dialogue.
And then obviously, because of their new plot twists, those scenes had dramatic changes in them. Instead of interrupting the first Terminator movie where they go back in time to save Sarah Connor, it's automatically now Terminator 2 as well, because we have another Terminator involved. Sarah already knows what's going on. So immediately you're thrown into this world of like, what the hell? Okay, we thought we were watching the beginning of Terminator through the eyes of the future, but instead it turned into some major clusterfuck of Terminator folklore, so to speak. And we recognized what was happening if you'd seen the 1 and 2 Terminators, but we were confused and questioning, how did this come to be? What's going on? Why is this one here? Why is that one there? Like the T-1000 versus the the older models and Liquid Terminator.
What did they call this one? It wasn't the T-1000, was it? Was it the T-1000 again? Asian?
I think so, yeah.
Probably.
And so then you start watching it and you're thinking, what is going on? And that's exactly how I as for explaining the movie, explaining what was going on, how it was going on, I made a conscious choice to give up because I was thinking, if I actually sit here and try to figure this out, not only will I hate this movie forever, but I probably won't be able to figure it out. It'll be like the pie. I'll be literally sitting there counting the same numbers over and over again after a certain point, because I'm like, this is making no sense to me whatsoever.
That's so true. As you were saying that, I was thinking, that's exactly why you start enjoying the movie, because you first 5 minutes, 10 minutes in, you're trying to figure this out, and maybe you do have a small, seizure, or maybe you have a small blood infusion in your head. Who knows what happens?
Right.
And you just click and you go, I'm just gonna watch the movie.
It's almost like Matrix 2, where at the end of the movie, you're watching it and the guy just gives you this long-winded speech about how there's so many other Neos in the past and each one's different, and I'm just like,
man, we should watch the Matrix.
I was just like, let's not.
Yes,
I was just like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like, I just watched almost 2 hours, and now you're telling me something that makes absolutely no sense. You couldn't just done this in the beginning, and it's weird. It's like it was like a role reversal. Like they confused us so bad at the beginning and defeated my brain. I was just like, you know what? This is so complicated. I'm not even gonna try. I'm not even gonna try to understand
And then
this
they
movie.
belittle it.
Yeah, yeah. And then it's like now that they've beat us down, somehow, some way, we can accept it and move on. So maybe that's Hollywood's new trick. I hope they don't do it to any other movies like Star Wars. You know, like, oh, Luke's a woman now, and blah 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 blah. And,
Like Ghostbusters.
yeah, or like Ghostbusters.
I can't believe how the movie. Well, they ended it with Genesis spoilers as Skynet, an outdated app
right.
from the iOS system.
Yeah. Which,
But
yeah.
I guess they're trying to say that no matter what they do, Skynet's always going. It was kind of open ended. This is the only one of the movies that actually pretty much said Skynet is going to happen regardless, and no matter what you do. So that opened them to more movies like this. It all went downhill, obviously, after number 2.
Right.
Because number 1 was great. Number 2 was pretty good.
I thought number 2 was great. It tied up all the loose ends.
I think 2 was probably the best one.
Well, here's the thing, too. I don't mean to interrupt you, but Hollywood is so unoriginal these days that they have to take what was popular and successful and somehow keep it alive, limp it along.
Well, they're scared.
And it's just like, they're like, this is what people love and know. They love these movies, so let's just keep the franchise going. And they don't care how. And
reinvent it.
Try
to reinvent
it. Or they try to take it and run with it. Like, I mean, here, I'll give you an example. Like, with this Genesis movie, as a fan of 1 and 2, keywords, fan of 1 and 2, Genesis did a lot of nods to 1 and 2. So in a sick, weird, twisted sort of way, I like Genesis only because of the nods to 1 and 2. I don't like Genesis the movie. I like the nods that they did for 1 and 2.
It's funny you say that. I'm just gonna bring this a blanket across this whole when Terminator came out and all that. Terminator 2 came out in what, early 90s?
Yes. Gosh,
okay.
I can't remember, but yes.
And we just got one recently, right?
Yes.
And we're now in 2015.
Yes.
We just got Jurassic World, right?
Yes.
New 2015.
Oh, yeah.
New Jurassic made nods to the original 2 Jurassic Parks.
Yep.
Actually, just the original, more or less. But then the Jurassic Park came out in the 90s, right?
Yeah,
okay.
It did.
Okay. When did Bush and Clinton run? In the 90s, right?
Yeah.
And we're in 2015. We have a Terminator in the movie theaters. We have Jurassic Park in the movie theaters again, and we have Bush and Clinton running for president again.
Wow, just stop. That hurts my head.
Is it nostalgia? Is this all coincidence?
I think,
or is this part of a bigger...
Well, you're getting into a bigger thing. I don't know. Yeah. But long story short, I think people like familiarity. And
people do.
Unfortunately, even if it's bad, and I'm leaning more towards the politics than I am the movies, people just recognize they just know what they're getting with that brand. That's just how it is, and you can't change that.
I blame James Cameron and divorce.
You know what?
He got divorced after the second movie.
You know what I wish?
Terminator.
Yeah, I know, but here's the thing.
And then he made Avatar.
Here's the thing too. Movies back in the day could end after 1. Movies at the end of the day could end after 2. Movies at the end of the day could even end after 3. Now it's gotten to the point where Hollywood is so unoriginal, or people are so greedy, or whatever you want to call it, that we no longer can do. It has to be a franchise that extends movies, at least 6 or 7 movies, to make a story. But we have to divide a story into like 4 parts. I mean, back in Hollywood, the golden age, I mean, you would go to the Ten Commandments, you go to other places, and you would see, not only would they have intermission where there's 20 minutes where people would actually get up, go to the snacks. I mean, if theaters did that, actually had intermissions again, they would go to the lobby and get their popcorn and talk about it. Possibly, but this day and age with the bars and stuff that they have, it'd be so much cooler. But the point I'm making is Hollywood has to reinvent everything now, and it's just crap. And it's unfortunate. Like, Terminator 2 should have ended the Terminator franchise. If they wanted Terminator to continue, what they should have done is shown us the world before done prequels. They should have just done some prequels, and they should have been loyal to those prequels and 1, 2, 3, 4, and it would have been amazing leading up to the Terminator franchise that we grew to love.
Which I like the Christian Bale one. A lot of people
Right.
don't, but I liked it because it showed what happened. It showed the war between the machine after Judgment Day actually happened, and it was getting to the point where they're going to send someone back
Right.
to help.
Right. But even
which they
then,
do.
he was mortally wounded. I thought.
John Connor?
Yeah, like I.
Christian Bale?
Yeah, I can't understand if he was gonna survive or not. To be honest, I know the
well, they never
explain.
They never explain that when John Connor sends the Terminator back or whoever back to help, help Sarah Connor's mom to live. No one ever says he had to live after that. He could have died right after that easily.
It's true, and the Terminator.
But that's why I liked it.
The Terminator also aided him, and that's the classic sci-fi thing. The thing that causes the problem is also the one that fixes it. That's why Arnold's robot is always the hero now, and same thing with the back then with the Christian Bale one. I think it's interesting too. Now that I say it, like the role reversal of Arnold's character. I mean, the first movie, the very first one, you're fearful of this guy. You are absolutely fearful of it, 100%. And now it's got, even in Genesis, perfect example. It's like a father figure. You want to talk a little bit about that? More than out of all the movies we've watched, that particular Terminator had quote unquote the closest to human emotions you could probably get. I don't know. Like they played it off as he's still a robot acting these things out, but there was some symbolism there. Like he kept her pictures and put it in the bunker, and you know what I mean. It's just I don't think.
Well, he's been with her for so long.
But the Terminator's not going to forget what she looks like.
Do you?
But he purposely brought her personal effects, her tapes, her radio, pictures, her artwork of them. It's very sentimental Terminator.
Well, do you think that like maybe it's due to the fact that Arnold now can act a little better than he first got the Terminator gig? Because like when he first got the first Terminator gig, it was one of his first few acting good. His first few what got him known. He didn't know the language that well. No, and now he's learning the language a lot better. I mean, he was California governor.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
here's the thing. To me, I do think it's bad because whether he can speak proper English or not, the thing that gets me is he's a robot.
Yes.
He's a robot.
But a learning robot.
Is that established? They learn and adapt on how to kill humans, maybe, but not.
We don't know what programming.
Did they explain that? I can't remember.
Maybe there should be a movie where they go back to how they explain and.
I think Kyle Reese did say the Terminators or Skynet. I don't know if it's Skynet or the Terminator, but somebody's adapting because they're always trying to adapt to find ways to kill. So, to terminate.
I have a question for you?
Yeah.
I want to go back a little bit, but I'm still with the same topic. Do you think that the reason why we're getting a lot of sequels today? I mean, we all think Hollywood is totally out of ideas.
Yeah.
And they want to keep making money, of course.
Right.
And these blockbuster movies are doing great, so they want to keep making sequels and carry on that legacy of making money.
Right.
If they can make an extra dollar for them, they're going to want to do it.
Right.
Do you think it's more derived by the people? Because we go and see those sequels, and we see the
human race that goes
trilogies,
the
and we like seeing stories keep unfolding. Like, look at the Marvel universe. I mean, we always go back to Marvel in a lot of these talks, you notice, because it's a great example of look at this universe they're creating, and they're not only just creating a trilogy of Iron Man movies, they're creating this universe.
Yes.
And people eat that up. Look at Star Wars. That's one of the reasons why it did so well. It's a universe. And there's so much info, and people love to eat that shit up. A lot of people say they're lazy and they don't want to learn things, but I think it's human nature to want to absorb and learn and adapt and get more knowledge.
Sure. That's a loaded question. I personally think a lot of things. I think there's such a thing as too much of a good thing. I remember growing up as a kid, I felt like there was this rivalry. I know we're getting off the subject of Terminator. I apologize, but
it's called entertainment banter for a reason,
That's
people.
That's right. We're going off topic. Get ready.
Get ready!
We're off-roading.
Maybe we should make a sound for that. Oh, there we go.
We'll start
off topic again.
Later, yeah. It could be a game show, too. One episode, they could just keep track of how many times we go off subject.
Or say the word
Or say the word
It's a drinking game now, people.
There you go. There's one right there. Take a sip.
Shit.
The
There's another one.
Star Wars and Star Trek, when I was a kid growing up, they were competitors in my mind. Star Trek had way more movies. They had way more television shows. Star Trek was like a lot, and Star Wars had 3 movies at the time.
And it
Just
created huge nerds like Trekkies.
right,
They eat that shit up.
But my point is, to me, I thought Star Wars was a better quality because that was it. You had those 3 movies, and you had their story, and the story was good. It was done well. They put more time and effort into it. Bam, you go and turn on a Star Trek episode. Yeah, it's entertaining, and I like Star Trek. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a Trekkie, but this day and age, I do enjoy going back and watching old Star Treks. And the thing is, though, with the movie franchises and what you're talking about, like Marvel, I'm worried for Marvel, and I'll be honest with you. I think their pants are they're getting too big for their britches because right now they're starting to really advance in television. They're really starting to advance in the movies, and they're focusing so much on spreading themselves too thin. I think like I don't care about Doctor Strange. I don't care about Ant Man. I don't care about what's the new Netflix show that's out right now?
Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones. I apologize, but I do not care. I'm only gonna care because it is part of their plan and they're introducing these individuals for a reason because I have to know about them because it's part of the bigger world that, like you said, they're creating. But on a regular basis, I would not give a crap about them.
Well, no, you didn't buy the comics.
No.
I didn't buy those. I didn't even buy Captain America comics.
No.
Who likes that Boy Scout?
Exactly. And with the comics too, I do buy my comics every once in a while. And I like to talk to the people that run the stores. And it's interesting because Marvel right now, I don't know if you know this or not, but Star Lord is now a woman, and it's Kitty Pryde. So think about that.
Interesting.
Think about this for a second, because you just pop. If you're Marvel Studios and you're pumping out all these movies, all of a sudden you got people who have never heard, me included, of like Star Lord or didn't really give a crap about these people.
No, I didn't care about the
No,
fourth rank superheroes in space.
No, not at all. But
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
great movie though, by
yeah,
the way.
who the hell are they? That's
Nobody
what I said.
cares.
Nobody cares.
They're third-rate characters.
Right. I expected nothing from that movie. And because of that, I enjoyed the crap out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the point I'm making is, I had no desire or knew who they were, and now people like me who just got interested in it, like, hey, this movie sold it. I'm watching it, and I'm like, I'm gonna go buy the comics now. I want to learn more. And now it's Kitty Pryde, who is a former X-Men. What? Like, I think that's what I'm talking about. Like, they're just so. They're just. It's almost like a kid in a candy store. It's like you can take whatever you want, or like the Toys R Us run on Christmas they used to have.
But they do that shit all the time, though, in comics. They always change who's what, who dies, and what comes back.
I'm getting off topic again, talking about millennials. I think people don't have the attention span that they used to have, and so they have to constantly change this crap every freaking week.
No, I agree with that. I would agree with that.
And so
They're definitely no attention span. Look at everyone on their iPhones, their iPods, their MacBooks, their fucking Apple device. Apple's gonna give me money for this talk, you know.
Getting back to your question about the movies, and I think it's Hollywood is greedy. Yes, I think they are unoriginal, and I think as long as people keep going to the movie theaters to see another Terminator movie, they're gonna keep making them.
For sure.
If people were serious about high quality stuff, they would stop going. I mean, and getting back to what you were asking, I go, especially like Ninja Turtles and stuff, I go, and Transformers. Every time I see a Michael Bay one, I think that's the last one. I'm not going to watch it anymore. But I keep going because I keep hoping. I keep hoping that they're going to give us quality. I think Hollywood realizes now that they can't make, they don't need to do quality movies. They just need to do movies. And it's unfortunate because the fans, I think the reason why you like Marvel so much right now is because right now it is good quality. It may not be characters I like or anything else, but
they take the time to
develop it.
Well,
and with this Terminator Genesis, the ending to me was a complete slap in the face. I just thought it was completely useless. And it was the idea that Skynet still evolved and came to be.
And he talks to his own self.
I mean, if you're gonna do that negative world where, like, no matter what you do, you're screwed. That's basically what the Terminator franchise is now. Like you could you could kill Skynet a million times. You can go back in time. You can go forward in time. If their thought process is that we need to make another movie, you're never going to defeat Skynet. And if you never can defeat Skynet, then what the fuck's the point in watching the movie? Any of them, because we know how it's going to end. The
People
human
just like
race is going to die.
watching it, even though you probably know where point A and point B go.
Mhm.
It's between there that people want to see.
They like the quick ride.
They like the quick ride. It's an action flick. It's turning into like a Die Hard or a freaking Rocky Balboa movie.
Well, let me ask you this: how many more rides can you tolerate before you say enough's enough? Because that's the point I was making about the Star Trek versus Star Wars when it first came out.
Rides?
Rides, like
Rides?
how many rides to the movie theater? How many movies of
How many,
Genesis?
how many Mission Impossibles did they make?
Yeah, but I never. The thing about Mission Impossible, I will say this, is that plot line at least works for me because there's always a new worldly danger or threat. Um, so that doesn't bother me as much. Whereas if you have one very specific goal and one very specific threat and you've neutralized it a million times, it's almost like Osama bin Laden. You know, like you got to keep going after him until he's dead. Well, if you keep killing Osama bin Laden in every movie, and then somehow he keeps coming back, then that's just stupid. Unless you're watching a
I
zombie
never watched
film.
the Mission Impossible movies. I just know
Yeah.
there's so many of them.
Well, it's like Bond. It's like Bond, same thing.
But look, so Terminator.
Yeah.
It's got 5 movies.
Yeah.
First 2 we recognize.
TV show.
The third one we ignore.
Yeah, that was awful.
TV show I wouldn't even acknowledge because it was supposed to lead up to the one of the movies or something like that, and it just failed miserably.
Sure.
Then you got the 4th movie, which was Christian Bale, and then now you have this 5th movie.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see a 6th movie.
Right.
People are going to go see it.
Mm-hmm.
It made some money. It didn't blow the box office up, but they're going to slowly lose quality. We got good quality in the beginning because it was, up and coming, franchise.
Sure.
They're all franchises now.
Right.
People will pay for it.
Well,
and that's the issue.
Let me ask you this.
And it'll lose quality. And just like you start off something strong, and then when it's strong, you make weaker qualities of it because people still trust that brand.
Well, they're clinging to that hope.
Exactly. So it may even happen to Marvel. They start out strong, and people will still go back to it because it's not the quality anymore. Now it's quantity.
Yeah, and they'll beat it to death, unfortunately.
Of course.
Well, it's just like zombie movies and shows. Like, that's been beaten to death forever now.
I was going to bring up Simpsons, but that's good too.
But you know what? At least with The Simpsons, they were the starter. They started it all for the animated comedy. Cartoon Network, Family Guy, all these ridiculous things. I can't even watch Adult Swim now. It's beyond stupid.
No,
it's so stupid.
They created such stupid shows on that.
It's awful. It's
actually a weird... Tom Goes to the Mayor, really?
It's so weird because it's almost like an MTV, what MTV used to be, like a weird late night kind of thing. But it's so trash. It's so bad. I can't watch it anymore. It's not even funny to me. It's just like, it's pathetic.
I got you. Do you have a final thought question?
I did. I wanted to ask you, Terminator franchise.
Okay.
God forbid, because I don't want anybody to pass on. But if Arnold isn't around, and they try to keep this franchise going somehow, would you still support it? I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like he's carrying the franchise on his shoulders. But you tell me.
He was in the first one, obviously. Mm-hmm. He was in the second one, obviously. Mm-hmm. The third one I did not see because it was a horrible piece of shit.
He was in it.
He was in it, though.
Yeah.
It didn't do too well.
No.
The fourth one I thought was a really good movie, personally.
Yeah.
He was only in it as an image. His stunt double was in it because they wanted to use his likeness, but he was, at the time, a political figure. Mm-hmm. And then they came out with this fifth one with him in it. He did carry this one. That's for sure why I went to go see it, because his one-liners are fucking hilarious.
Right.
But you're right. When he dies or finally gives up on doing it, that's it. It won't happen anymore.
Yeah.
There's no reason. It probably will be made. They'll probably make 2 more after his time, and then eventually they'll get the picture and they won't make him anymore.
Would you think? Do you think?
Hopefully.
I know we're running out of time, but do you think, out of all the films that Arnold's done, he'll be most known for the Terminator franchise?
100%. Yeah. People don't probably recognize that he was in Predator, or that he was it was Conan the Barbarian.
Sure.
There's a lot of movies that you probably don't even know who he was, but Terminator, everybody knows Terminator.
I agree. He's something you don't mess with, and he is the Terminator.
There's a reason why they called him our Governator.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for listening. We're out of time. I'm Matt.
I'll be back. And I'm Joel.
And we're
done. That means I'm done.
We hope our videos brighten your day. It looks like you need some more sun. The next one's coming right up.